G'day friends and fans, welcome to Tabletop News. I'm your host, the author, David Applegate. Today, of course, nearly the week is coming to an end. Bundle of Holding has released new bundles and some have come to an end. First up, we have the Shadowrun 5th edition Mega Bundle. A huge collection of source books broken into two bundles. First up is the Starter Collection, 1995, followed by the Bonus Collection. The Starter Collection features a collection of compendiums. There's a total of 18 setting source books to expand your 5th edition campaign. There's 7 in the starters offer, but if you level up and pay the threshold price of $30.59, you get 11 more titles. This is a new collection. So, in the starter collection, you pay the minimum price and get the Seattle Sprawl digital box set. This is the Shadowrun Capital, an intersection of corporate, political, and criminal powers. This is where icons are made. The files within this digital box set are to bring the Seattle Sprawl to life, while make it easier for players and game masters to dive into its shadowy depths. Various reference cards and maps of different rooms. This is a digital box set. Now, better than bad is Righteous Fire. These are about a type of Shadowruns who basically are hoarding. This is the act of robbing from the rich to give to the poor. I mean the real poor, not yourself. Although I'm sure a lot of hoarders do keep a lot of what they take. But that's, neither here nor there. This is about those who live the story of Robin Hood, whether he's a noble outlaw or a jerk thief who really is only out for himself. This is a guide to the art of committing crime and helping those in need. In Better Bad, there's actually a setting for Pretoria, in the African nation of Azania. Now, next up is the Complete Trog. This is basically orcs and trolls in the 6th world, not just in Seattle, but in many locations. Heroes, enemies, books to help players add flavour and depth to their characters, qualities, life modules, the rich culture of trogs, and watch them turn a slur into a badge of honour. Coyotes, all about those who get packages across the border, avoiding bounties, and of course, trained professionals with nerves of steel who talk, sneak, or blast their way through almost any border. Of course, you have to pay a hefty price, but it'll be well worth it when you see the checkpoints in the rear mirror. This is wealth of information on crossing the borders illegally in Shadowrun. The Neo-Anarchist Streetpedia. The Neo-Anarchist Guide has been a long staple of cyberpunk settings. This is your definitive guide to Shadowrun of 2081. Everything you need to know so you can hit the streets a little smarter than yesterday. It's corporations, Shadowrunners, politics, nations, cities, organised crime and more. It's a rules-agnostic setting material that can work with other editions of Shadowrun. No future. This is about those who scream their truth. In Shadowrun, the world is pacified through bland entertainment and milquetoast messages. Thought this was fiction? Alright, so we have people who are screaming to get their message out there, and of course they're trying to grab audiences by the throat and get them to listen. They're out of patience and everyone else is out of time, and these basically, these could be music acts, trid movies, series, media sources, you name it. These are all underground voices that demand attention, and this is about their culture and everyday life. This is, apart from 9 pages of rules in the appendix, this is can work with other editions of Shadowrun. 10 Terrorists. This is the guide to those who use violence in the belief that the ends justify the means, that, of course, in the ranks of what's justified is we get our way through violence. And there are many organisations in the Shadow Realms that do so. And again, whether runners are infiltrating, avoiding, or dealing with the fallout of chaos that occur, these are threats to the Shadowrun game. Now, level up, which I recommend you do, you get Book of the Lost. Now, this is exploring lost knowledge. Now, this is actually a book of plots, adventure seeds, a treasure trove of ideas, mysteries, and enigma to make a more memorable game. And by the looks of it, these are Thundercats. Or based on tarot cards. Now, the Sealy Court is the court of the fairies, spirits, enchanted beings, and they toy with the realm of humans and with each other. Now, this is an alternative setting for Shadowrun. This is has a high emphasis on magic and the intrigue of the Sealy Court. This is the land of the Fae, and somehow humans can now enter it and mess with the planes of the fairies, capturing dreams and maybe even prevent its fall. Next we have City by Shadow Guides. These are 3 guides to the different parts of Shadowrun. Here, first up is the City of Shadow Boot. This is the City of the Sioux Nation. Metropole is the awakened country of Amazonia. The great dragon Hula Pa reigns. Critters walk the streets under protection of the law, and people have to figure out how they fit in. Now, in the San Francisco Metroplex, this is post-fascist General Sato. The Bay Area is now once again united. San Francisco has all the ingredients to make a nice festering stew of Shadowrunners, and this is the guide to the hilly streets, cruel back roads, and the sprawl with a deadly heart. Again, thought this was fiction. But really, we have to wait until 2081 to be rid of Gavin Newsom? Oh my, no. Too long. Smirk. Come on. Now, next up in this bundle is 6 more guides. To finish it off, you have various settings. Again, you have Africa, Cheyenne, Morocco, more about the Sioux Nation in 3 parts. Now, there's like both guides and adventures. So, it's probably 3 and 3. 3 guides and 3 adventures. But various books by various designers bring Shadowrun 5th edition to life. And for those who want to catch up and bring more to life in Shadowrun, or you're just starting out, you start with 5th edition Essentials. This is the crucial ebooks from Catalyst Lab Games to get started with Shadowrun 5th edition. You have the Core Collection, $14.95, which brings the core rulebook and a couple of guides. But level up and pay above the threshold price of $30.16. You get the entire bonus collection with 8 more supplements. Now, this is the 3rd resurrection of this collection. Now, the core collection gets you the 5th edition core rulebook, Run Faster, the indispensable player's guide, and Chrome Flesh, augmentations of all kinds. Now, you basically turn into a humanoid semi-truck with drugs, bioware, G-Tech, cyberware, and nanotech. Now, level up, which I recommend you do, you get Run and Gun, the combat expansion. Now, this is not just weapons and armor, this is game options such as martial arts, unit tactics, skill shots, explosive, survival gear, specialized techniques to raise your game. Shrink Grimoire, again, this is to raise your game with magic. Data Trials, this is the core Matrix handbook for Shadowrun, 5th edition. Rigor 5.0, as it suggests, this is the core rulebook for Riggers in Shadowrun. Forbidden Arcana adds more traditions and more magic to Shadowrun. Howling Shadows brings the critters of Shadowrun as a critter book for Shadowrun 5th edition, Kill Codes, expanded Matrix rules, including Kill Code and rules for Technomancers, and Street Lethal, more options for firepower. Now, on top of the truckload of guns, this also looks into combat skills, security techniques, information on major mercenaries, everything you need to make sure that you're the last one standing. Next up is Cornucopia. Almost said Happy Halloween. No, Happy Thanksgiving. This is a Thanksgiving tradition from the Bundle Holding, where they put together a cornucopia of games for the American holiday. Now, this is the 13th annual Feast of Ebooks, which in the core, you have the core collection or starter collection, $12.95, gives you 3 games, and a bonus collection of 4 more. Now, recommend you level up, pay the threshold price of $28.28 or more, and you get additional games worth $95. Now, in the starters collection, you have Doomsong. This is a medieval macabre world plagued by the dead. You are a member of a guild. Gods no longer answer prayers or perform miracles, but there are 30 traitor gods that are gathering souls in cults and performing heretical miracles. How will you serve? Now, you're a member of one of the oldest existence in Pain Me. The dead are no longer being accepted by Yeld, and of course the land is poised between justice and order and the lures of heresy and power. And there's horrors to combat, enemies, some are very obscene, as well as allies, profane powers, and you wade through the mud of the everyday life and basically face down terrible abominations. This is a successful Kickstarter. Punk is Dead is an anarchist role-playing game in a future ununited kingdom. Post-apocalypse, the island stands alone, surrounded by a poison sea. The ununited kingdom, where progress is stopped, there's no future. nothing but music. Angry, confused, and raw music. This is a standalone RPG inspired by Morkborg. Punk is that is post-apocalyptic love letter to rebellion, noise, and community. With your small band of ambient musicians, you bring hope to the hopeless, kick fascist ass, and yay team, I guess. Go politics. Go team politics. But sentience. This is one that looks interesting. This is about artificial constructs in the world of 2071. So, Tesla has finally gotten off their arse and built androids. I'm just kidding. We don't know if this is Tesla or not. This is just use your imagination, right? But they're doing the dirty work. And we're told they're not sentient. However, you are. That's right. You play a newly booted up piece of hardware that knows what it is. Emotional system defines is your core abilities, etc. Potentially useful effects such as adding dice, pool, or re-rolling failures. But yeah, it's another successful Kickstarter. But yeah, you play a self-aware construct fighting for your freedom and survival in a world that doesn't believe you're sentient. Level up, which I recommend you do. Get the entire collection. Now, Break RPG is anime inspired. It's a D20 tabletop. You have various callings and species. You have basically the anime-inspired themed characters who explore a post-apocalyptic fantasy world full of derelict megastructures, shambling war machines, and nature warped by magical pollution. The sun machine's broken, half the planet is bathed in light, the other half in shadow. Titanic monsters roam the land. You can scale them, find their weak points, bring them down using colossal combat rules. And basically, there's an endless war out there in the Underland, and you need to plan your journey. There's various themed regions and bombastic, larger-than-life characters. This is, again, a successful Kickstarter. Sentai and Sensibility. What if Jane Austen wrote Power Rangers? What if Bridgerton had kaiju? This is Regency romance novels mixed where you're the gentlefolk of the British Regency that never was. Well, you have country parties, social dances and strolls. But that's all ruined by kaiju. So you and your Power Rangers, Sentai, or Henshin, transform into a unit of superheroes who basically suit up and fight scum. This is a game of polyhedral die. There's no mass, just roll and look at the resolution matrix. Okay. Tartarus. Space combat with zombies. It's 2130. You're an unpaid intern aboard a transport ship. You're shepherding cargo from Earth to the Tartarus Gateway Station. Visual feeds have gone down. Something's moving. You're 6 months from the nearest help. And you really need to impress your employer if you want to be made permanent. Well, permanent part of the crew may mean different things in the zombie apocalypse. Tidal Waves. This is Tidal Blade, sorry. This one looks good. This is the fantasy water world of Naviri. Wonder where I've heard this before. Alright, so you have crocs, turtles, and fish folk cohabited peacefully. Yeah, well, with humans. 'Tis fiction, folks. In a vast floating city, people travel amongst the docks on fast watercraft. Despite paradisal setting, the Vari interneater heroes, powerful sea monsters that started breaking the hyper-dimensional barrier that protects the area. There's small dangers, dark corners, dark dealings, dark characters, but there's obstacles to overcome, challenges to face, shinies to find, etc. This is one from Monk Games. Yeah. This is the one that makes it all worth it. $150 worth of gold in the Cornucopia for $28.28 if you buy the entire collection. $12.95 for the starter pack. And remember, when you level up, it's the threshold price. It's not added to the price. It is the price. All right. Outgunned is the adventure book of a world of killers and much more from Two Little Mice. Now, this is broken again into two collections. The starter collection, $12.95, gets you the starter collection, and level up, which I recommend you do, gets the bonus collection. This is cinematic action from Ricardo Cerignego and Simone Formicola, the designers of Household, Broken Compass, Inferno, and Apocalypse. This is where villains plot to steal nuclear codes, crooks hire personal armies to amass wealth, and laughing madmen play with you in life. It's always important to laugh, right, as you toy with the powerless. However, somebody's killed the wrong dog. Cue the head slap. It's made famous by Leslie Nielsen in The Naked Gun. Alright, we have action inspired by Die Hard, True Lies, James Bond, and The Kingsman. Now, these offer has everything you need to get started. However, for the three titles in the starter collection for $12.95. However, level up, which I recommend you do, you pay above the official price of $26.28, and you get the entire bonus collection, 4 titles worth $48. Now, pay the minimum, and you get Outgunned, the core rulebook of cinematic action, and a video store of mini library, where you have 2 basically sets of opportunities for heroic action that can be mix and match across the multiverse, where you have multiple settings and action set pieces to go mad with, I guess. Now, the way I look at it is $12.95. You know, that's a lot of Avenger for one price. So it's just well worth it. But leveling up, and you can expand well on it with Outgunned, a standalone game of two-fisted heroes and cave raiders, the world of killers, assassins, hired guns, and secret societies, and 2 mission dossiers, which pretty much add basically 2 campaigns. One where you're betrayed by an informer to chase a plane, sneak aboard, everything explodes. Once you land in Greece, the heroes infiltrate the villain's lab, destroy the project, and face down the villain. And then you've got Atlantis, Greenland, and mysterious ciphers, mysterious flights aboard a giant zeppelin. Out in the middle of the ocean, you crash your Atlantis, find Poseidon's trident before your arrival. So you've got quite an interesting collection of tales there. And again, the way I look at it is, it's cheaper than a movie, and you get to role play. In this case, you've got over a dozen movies, 3 hours each. But yeah, dozen movies to play out. Now, Salvage Union is a post-apocalyptic role-playing game from Leyline, where you play scrappy adventures in scrap metal mech robots. Savage collection, one price gets you the entire collection for $19.95. Nice little caravan of mech right there. That's your Salvage Union right there, where you basically scour the world for scrap, and you protect your caravan with mechs. You salvage materials to repair and replace and survive. Now, of course, you have an adventure to get you all set and going, where, oh yes, the inky black nano machines, another worldly hive entity, tremendous power and danger all in one. You basically mine these things and this one is 10 to 15 sessions. This is you get rules for crafting nanotech and piloting nanotech mechs and all sorts. So this is both adventure and expansion. Same with Rainmaker. In the world of nothing, water is wealth. And of course, you're on the hunt for the Rainmaker. And this is another 10 to 15 sessions. So for the price of, let's say, one movie, premium movie, or two cheapies, you get basically 10 to 15 hours each. So you got two movies worth and a half, two epics series, and a half, and Salvage Union and an 8-way battle. So you got another 10 to 15. So you got three epics for the price of two movies. It's pretty interesting. I'm torn. I would normally recommend one, but in this case, it's hard. The Cornucopia, Salvage Union, Outgunned, they're all brilliant in each way. And then there's Yeld, and if you've got children, this is a great introduction to role-playing for children. This is an all-ages tabletop role-playing game in the magical land called Rulebooks, 19 supplements, Yeld 2nd edition, $17.95. Gives you everything. This is all-ages fantasy role-playing from Atarashi Games about young heroes called friends. This is a Narnia-like landscape with classic video game elements like Final Fantasy, Zelda, Mana, Secrets of Mana, and animes such as Full Metal Alchemist and One Piece. I wouldn't call One Piece very child-friendly, but it's close. But wouldn't say it's more young adult. Now, there was a 2019 Yeld 1 bundle, and this is an expansion that remains compatible. So everything you have in the first bundle you can still use with the second. Now this is a 400-page core rulebook to get you started. The rank 1 adventure set of 5 adventures to get you started in Magic Yeld. Then you've got 9 jobs, basic adventures. Add 4 more supplements to expand. You've got elves, rules for games for 1 player and 1 player master. Alright, so you got close to solo play, so you can play with your parent, child, parent, or best friend, yeah. So, towns and territories, basically more land to explore, and Boar Hare Ranch, which is traditional mounts of the hare, the rabbit, basically, and families of ranchers who protected them for thousands of years. So, this one is, you've got kids, Shadowrun for the hardcore players, the Cornucopia for the weekenders, I suppose, Outgunned and Salvage Union for those who like to go beyond the cliche of cyberpunk or D&D. Though, yes, I know that cyberpunk and Shadowrun are different. This all comes to you by you, the viewer. Future Fantasy is my adventure, my setting. Sorry, I should explain a little bit more. On top of all my tabletop videos, game videos, you've got maps and various supplements to expand science fantasy setting, the Empire of the Elves set in the Blades. New this week from DriveThruRPG is DriveThruRPG, not from, is Labyrinth Lord, revised and expanded for old school revival from Goblin Games. This is the basics of fantasy gaming set in a world of labyrinths, magic, and monsters. You take on the role of a burglar, cleric, cyclops, brownie, dwarf, elf, fighter, hobfolk, or a wizard on a quest for glory, treasure, and adventure. This is a complete role-playing game, everything you need other than a few sheets of paper and some dice. You have new classes, monsters, expanded player advice, and a adventure included. So it's rules and adventure revised and expanded. Now, for those who don't know, I've been looking into the release of Fallout last week. It was mentioned, but it actually didn't come out. It wasn't listed. It was supposed to be listed, but it's now listed. It was actually listed a day later. So that's why there was no link when I went through it. I didn't realize that there was no link until I got to the end, and I don't know how I missed it. So, yes, Fallout is out, as I suspected, and it's been out for the core rulebook's been out for some time, but for the last couple of weeks, they've been releasing various expansions and faction book, and some of it's on special. But yeah, there's a lot out for Fallout RPG now. It's from Modiphius 2D20. Lord never changes, and neither does the Mojave. The Mojave is just a desert. It's a blasted frontier. You explore the Mojave. Royal Flush is a road trip down the Sierras and the Mojave, amidst the turmoil engulfing the New California Republic, and in the run-up to the second Battle of Hoover Dam against the looming threat of war, a pair of characters stumble into a plot to escalate regional tensions, become embroiled in conflict between gangs and settlements, and you have a chance to visit New Reno and New Vegas. Now, these are settings and official from ZeniMax. So everything in this is canon, and there are the canon references to the video games, I don't know everything about it, but people do tell me that Fallout, yeah, I don't know if Fallout fans are happy or unhappy, but yeah, Fallout is appearing now to become a IP other than video games. It may look it for now. I don't know what is cancelled and what isn't, but for now the rumor is that they're going to expand Fallout through the role-playing game, through the TV show, considering a movie, and other producing other shows. But it looks like, it looks out like Fallout 5 is not coming, or that's the fear that it's not coming. I don't like rumors, but it's hard to ignore because Fallout is one of those franchises that had dropped off, almost died, was brought back to life by Bethesda, earned them a lot of goodwill, and now it looks like they set fire to it. But this here could be their way of putting out the fire, because it appears that ZeniMax wants to become a multimedia company, not just video games. And right now they are consumed by the TV series. And, no pun intended, the fallout from the disaster that was the expansion for Starfield. And of course, Starfield expansion was meant to protect them from, or save them from, the disaster that was Starfield. I think, and I just, for the life of me, I think they're just so inflexible on the creation engine. They thought that Bethesda fans would accept, See, if Starfield was a small game set in one city, I don't think anybody would have noticed. But by trying to incorporate things that the game engine wasn't capable of, it exposed every flaw, which had been appearing for some time, because as Fallout got bigger and bigger, you had Fallout 76 and, load screens and stuttering and breakdowns, because it was just too much for the game, and it had and instead of dealing with errors or and fixing glitches, they just pushed ahead. And so now they got to the point where and honestly, if you're out there role playing and you sometimes things don't make sense, but you can get away with that in an RPG on a tabletop. You can get an append. You can go to a wiki, or just ignore the rules. Well, you can't do that with a computer, and that really, I think, has damaged. But perhaps the Fallout role-playing game is going to be a saving grace, because Modiphius are high quality. They're good at what they do. They're gaining a solid reputation. So this isn't on them. And I think they're doing the best with what they got. And so if there's any fallout to be had, it should be on Bethesda, not the people trying to bring you Fallout to life, because it is bringing Fallout to life in a way that will keep it going. Because, let's face reality, Todd Howard does not care. Okay, a man who's burnt his own franchise to the ground. You think he cares about Fallout? He's burnt his own to the ground, okay? I don't know what it's like, sort of, to have a 20-year franchise rise and fall. But, you know, to give up, that's the part I don't get. But I don't think people should give up on Fallout just because of Todd Howard. Someone else will come along soon. And if there's still that loyalty and love for Fallout, it will come back. There'll be a Fallout London, there'll be a Fallout Moscow, eventually Paris. We'll find out what happened with China. We may even get a tactical game to fight the Fallout war. We may find, you know, out more through the RPG. But if Todd Howard gives up and then gets everybody else to give up on it, simply because he overpromised and underdelivered, well, that's not the way to go. I sincerely hope that people will give the role-playing game the love it deserves. And seriously, you know, that doesn't mean you go out and buy Todd Howard's latest or last expansion or reboot or remake. I mean, I think that's the problem in the first place. I'm really waiting on this to drop, but I fear this might be another one I can't afford. Now, there's been a bit of an update. As you can see, the page has updated. Bit more information. So, that's good, isn't it? They're getting ready to drop, hopefully. Like I said, every week it's been just this. It's coming, you know. And I got in on the Apocalypse World early as a backer. Third edition is coming soon. 22 days to go in an all-or-nothing attempt. This is fully funded by a factor of almost 10. Now, 18 minutes, fully funded. And it's got a lot to it. Choose your play. The resolution rolls. Kickstarter United, I don't like it when they get involved in that, but there's a community on Patreon. Yeah. Some add-ons. Yeah. It is what it is. Now, yeah. At the last minute, as I was putting this together, there was another a tweet about Core, and I thought, new, sort of new, but I hadn't seen it before, and yeah, a new Day Trippers rulebook has come out for Core, and it's a micro. It's a unique system. It's a micro system. Rules light, basically. Oh, was it reloading? Okay, must have. I'm sure I loaded it before. Yeah, this is based, as heard on actual play and other things. To kick off the holidays, this has been discounted by 50%. Core is a traditional RPG with narrative elements using simple universal mechanics. Basically, it's simple. Everything is simplified as much as possible with dice rolls and tables that prompt you rather than hinder you. That's the idea. It's narration based with mechanics that almost melt away. It's very flexible. Minimalist rules. which goes against tactical play, but it's got a lot to it in terms of material for a rules light system. It's not as big as Tiny D6, but it's a rules light system, and I'm told that it can be easily adapted for solo play. And because it's so rules light, anybody who solo plays used to talking to themselves, so you can be your own game master and go on a new. This has got 12 ratings. Yeah, like I said, it appears to be relatively new, although some has been out. Yeah, last updated 2015. No, this isn't the one that was new. It's out of order. But I saw the tweet and I clicked on the link, and this is what it gave me. Action tables for not going back. No, just thought, some of you do like solo play, and I thought this would. And Tiny 6 was a hit, so I thought, this is a off the beaten path. It's not like, well, this isn't corporate, but Thundercats, Fallout, they're corporate, These are professionals, most of the part. This is Catalyst Games. I thought, might as well give a little fella a chance too. I mean, it's rare. A lot of people now are definitely just doing the Kickstarter or backer kit, or Kickstarter to backer kit, but I still see a lot of D&D, I keep hearing people say D&D's dead on YouTube, yet when I go to drive-through, there's community releases, and it's like community releases for non-D&D and then community releases for D&D. I don't think D&D is dead. I think D&D YouTube is dead, and that's different. And that's because the people on it are bloated, tired, and obnoxious. They have gotten so used to the fact that there's no competition on YouTube because the audience doesn't. This is the thing that's going on with YouTube that they won't admit. New people are either instant hits or instant failures. There's no variation. There's not like, you're either 13 going on 35 or you're 35 going on 95. There's no, people who are established are just got such a core audience. And so I think it's the same with D&D. I think the D&D core audience is still there. They're just no longer interested in the YouTubers who do D&D. And thus, and also at the same time, a lot of the people who do D&D YouTube, they can't afford to run these big groups anymore, and their streaming was, I don't think D&D was killed by wokeness, politics, or whatever. I think, this is my opinion, that's Apocalypse. They couldn't keep up with the price. So this is what I think with D&D, the core audience, they have their 30, 40 books. They buy a few modules a year. So they're not making the multi-thousands of dollars of investment to build their library. Whereas newcomers are overwhelmed, and so they look to lighter systems like Tiny Dungeon, Shadowrun, and others. And then they, there's the non-D&D players who will spend a few, anywhere from a few tenors to a few hundred a month on non-D&D games. So, and there's the in-betweeners who buy the budget, the bundles they buy on sales. There's literally thousands of core rulebooks now. If you were to start, I would say I would not recommend anybody start with D&D. I would start with Old School Revival. I would start with Shadowrun or there's The Witcher, I believe, RPG. I honestly, it's unless you're a big group, I just see D&D now as the luxury. It's still the premium, but it's a luxury item of role-playing. So, again, I think it's primarily, though, not dead. I think the death has been YouTube, where the people who did D&D have given up on it because they lose their audience to people playing Baldur's Gate or any of the other D&D esque video games, and they can't compete with that. And that's the way it is, whereas if you're a tabletop player, it's like on the other side you have those who play Star Trek, Star Wars, and Warhammer. Like, there's 10 to 13 games, and believe it or not, one of the reasons why people say D&D is dead is that Pathfinder outsells D&D. But remember, they make money no matter what, And again, the death of the D&D movie. I know they're blaming Chris Pine. That's the latest excuse, but everybody knows it was the it was the out of focus, disjointed world. It was like, did you film this in 3D and post mix and or was there were just some scenes that were, what were they thinking? This doesn't look in focus. But I think overall, this is still my favorite, and I'm sort of inspired by it, but I use a totally different system, and so be it. I don't mind that, there's just so many systems out now. I know a lot of people are now into Rules Light, but I don't find that Rules Light has the depth, the strategy, or the choices and of course, narrative play doesn't have the structure. You can pretty much make anything up on the fly, so it's an always win game. But when you play a video game, isn't it the point you always win? You don't buy a video game and go, oh no, I died 1 hour in. I'm not going, I bought this $70 video game. I died and I can't play it anymore. No, I don't think so. But yeah, tabletop game, cheaper than a video game, cheaper than a movie, lots of entertainment if you're willing to use this. Thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and please support the channel. You can support the channel through Ko-Fi, Patreon, buy my books, buy my merch. All my links are in the link tree description below or in my profile. Thank you one and all. Really appreciate each and every one of you. See you in the next video, and bye for now.